Today is Sunday, January 9th, 2022. It's in the wee hours of the morning, and I just had quite an amazing epiphany that I'd like to share. Last night before I went to bed, which was actually the wee hours of Saturday, I was looking back through some pictures and found a picture of me from 9 years ago. And for no apparent reason, I just decided that I was going to talk to her. And when I did, I decided to just write it down like a story. And when I started typing, more awarenesses began to unfold. And I became aware that I was actually in a real-time conversation with my past self from 9 years ago. And by the time I finished writing the story, I was quite astounded by how some things had unfolded in my mind. And all day today, I have felt my divine masculine very powerfully, very close, the entire day. And just now I decided to lay down. It's much earlier than when I went to bed last night. It's just after midnight, and last night it was like 4 a.m. when I went to bed. And when I laid down just now, I really had every intention of going to sleep, but something told me that I just needed to just lay here and relax and just talk with my divine masculine. And I was reminded of the story that I wrote about going back in time and talking with my past self. And I realized something really, really astounding. And I wanted to get it recorded while it's fresh in my mind, because I have a feeling that when I wake up tomorrow, it's going to feel like a dream. It's not going to be clear for me to be able to articulate it exactly the way it came to me. I started talking to my divine masculine and telling him that when I first saw his picture on Facebook, I recognized him from a dream from many years before. And one thing I realized last night when I was writing this story was that in that dream that I had about him many, many years before we met, I remember being experiencing the dream subjectively, but also I was observing the two of us from up in the air, looking down on them as they did their activity. I'm not talking about intimacy. I'm just talking about the activity that they were, the recreational activity that they were doing. Anyway, last night as I was writing the story, it occurred to me that that was myself in my current version that was looking down on them. And that was the astounding awareness that I became aware of last night. And then tonight, I had another amazing awareness. And that is that my having the dream, he had to participate in that dream for him to be present with me in the dream. His higher consciousness had to intentionally participate. And it just occurred to me that he and I both went back in time to my self from 9 years ago. I beg your pardon. Myself from when I had the dream, which was even longer ago than that. So, what just hit me in simpler terms is after he and I met, together we went back in time to tell my earlier self about him. And we stepped into my dream state in order to bring me aware of his existence. And when I had the dream, when I woke up from the dream, I knew down deep in my soul that he had to be real. And the dream was so peaceful and comforting. And I tried so desperately to go back to sleep. But there was another part of me that was so excited about this man that I couldn't go back to sleep. So I just laid there and I said, okay, God, if I'm not going to be able to go back to sleep, I'm just going to talk to you about him. And it just occurred to me as I'm saying this that the way I'm feeling tonight is that exact same feeling that I had in the dream. And it's so beautiful and so comforting and reassuring to know that I don't have to go to sleep in order to experience him with me. And I think at the time I had the dream that I knew that I would reach a point in my life where I could do that. And this is most encouraging for me because it validates the things that I know now. It validates the reality of those things as well. And even though there are some things that I have felt might be part of this reality that aren't perfect or aren't ideal or aren't exactly the way I would like for them to be. But it's okay because the magic and the mystery and the miracles and quite honestly, the impossible is happening. And there's nothing more I could ask for. And I remember when I met him, I felt that way. I was like, just knowing he's on this earth and knowing he's real is enough. And if he talks to me, if he becomes my friend, if he interacts with me, if he has any feelings for me, that'll all be wonderful. But just knowing he's on this earth is enough. And that was over 3 years ago. And anytime I've found myself hoping for something else, I felt guilty. But then I realized that the way I felt when I met him was okay, because that's where we were meant to be at the time. But as time has gone on, God has added more desires in my heart. So all the things that I just mentioned, I'm not asking or pleading or desperate for those things to happen, but I'm totally open and receptive to them. And everything that's happening in the higher realms, in the astral realm, in my inner self, my inner being, it's all going to be reflected in the physical world in one way or the other. So, like the dream that I had, there was energetic intimacy between him and me. And we've exchanged that energetic intimacy in the physical world already, just by sitting in a video chat in silence, just partaking of each other's energy and communing in one another's energy. And it was the most beautiful thing that I've ever experienced. Aside from the first moments that I looked at his face and heard his voice, and all the other moments that we've shared, that few moments that we sat in silence was, there's just no words. It's just, the feeling is literally ineffable. And I know I'm going on about this, but I'm just really enjoying feeling so relaxed and lying here with no lights on and just letting my feelings flow out verbally, which I never do to this extent. I've talked to personal friends about this situation, and it's, my emotion is never free to just flow this way. There's always that other person that has something to say back. And I've always been very grateful for that, for other people sharing. But this is so different. And the alone time that I've had to grow and to reflect on a deeper level, and as I said, to commune with him spiritually, it's so sacred and so precious. And it literally is a gift from the divine. And even though I did this video to talk about going back and visiting my past self, and then I realized that he and I actually went back together to visit my past self, as incredible and miraculous as that is, the feeling of peace and serenity and solace that comes from just basking in my beloved's energy, that's even more precious and more sacred than the events that defy space and time. And I feel like I'm being beckoned back into that energy once more. So I'm going to end this video and return into my state of silence and reflecting inwardly to receive the beautiful gift that is waiting for me in the higher realms with my beloved. The gift that's waiting for him and me both, straight down from the hand of God and from the heart of God.